Los Angeles bank teller Francesca "Frankie" Sutton is fired after a robbery because she recognized one of the robbers from her Southern California neighborhood. Investigating, Detective Strode falsely implicates her as an inside accomplice. Frankie is forced to take a menial job at Luther's janitorial services with her three best friends, Lita "Stoney" Newsom, Cleopatra "Cleo" Sims, and Tyshawn T. Williams. The owner, Luther, treats them with disrespect and pays them paltry wages. Tired of being mistreated, Frankie plans to commit a bank robbery with her friends. Cleo agrees, but Stoney and TT are reluctant. Then Stevie, Stoney's younger brother, is gunned down by the police after being mistakenly identified as one of the robbers. Meanwhile, T.T.'s son is taken away from her by Child Protective Services after he is accidentally poisoned at her workplace. TT had brought him with her because she couldn't afford a babysitter. In view of all this, TT and Stoney agree to join the robbery. While casing a bank with TT, Stoney hits it off with Keith Weston, the bank's manager. He and Stoney begin dating. The four women embark on a series of successful bank robberies due to Frankie's inside knowledge of bank protocol with money and security. An investigation by the LAPD ensues. Detective Strode suspects that Cleo, because of her prior convictions, Frankie, because of her inadvertent connection to the earlier robbery and subsequent firing, and Stoney, because of her brother's death, are involved. Yet he is unable to bring any of them in, since Frankie's careful planning has left him without sufficient evidence. Concerned with the safety of their money, the four women stash the loot in an air vent at one of their work sites. Then Cleo, Frankie, and TT discover they have a new boss overseeing their janitorial work. They realize that Luther has discovered the loot and fled with it. Stoney attends a banking event with Keith, and they end the night with sex. The other three women track Luther to a motel and find him sleeping with a prostitute. When the threesome demand that he return their stolen money, Luther instead threatens them with a gun. TT shoots him dead. Cleo is brought in by Detective Strode for questioning about Luther's murder, but she intimidates the prostitute into not identifying her. When Stoney discovers what has happened, she becomes disillusioned with her three partners. The foursome agree to skip town after pulling one more heist. The women plan to rob the downtown Federal Bank, the city's largest, where Keith works. Concerned for Keith's safety, and not wanting him to know she's a bank robber, Stoney asks him to meet her at a cafe on the far side of town. The four women pull off the robbery, stealing more money than they planned to. Detective Strode and his partner arrive on the scene and order the robbers to surrender. Just as TT is about to do so, a bank security guard shoots and mortally wounds her from behind. The guard, in turn, is gunned down by Stoney. Enraged, Cleo opens fire to cover their escape. As they flee, TT dies in Stoney's arms. The three surviving robbers, unable to outrun the police, split up. Cleo tells Stoney and Frankie to keep her and T.T.'s shares of the stolen money. Cleo leads the police on a high-speed chase until she is cornered, then wrecks her car by crashing through a police barricade. She is finally killed when she engages in a shootout with police, much to the dismay of her lesbian girlfriend Ursula, who has been watching the entire chase on TV. Meanwhile, Detective Strode locates Frankie and demands that she surrender. Instead, she sticks a gun in Strode's face and reminds him of how he was a catalyst for this situation in the first place. Turning away from Strode, she is shot and killed from behind by his men. Stoney, who has successfully blended in with a tourist group heading to Mexico, tearfully watches Frankie's death from a passing charter bus. Detective Strode sees her from a distance, but, out of guilt for his prior actions, lets her leave. In Mexico, Stoney cuts off her hair. She mourns the deaths of her brother and three friends.
Stoney, on phone. I'm okay, Keith. Thank you. Narrator, RVO. Then she calls Keith, both to assure him that she's all right and to thank him. He smiles.
Stoney drives off with half of the money from her and her friend's bank spree,